Well, thanks for being with us at Steer Wrestling 101, and we're delighted to take on a new student, if you want to say that. Bryn here is from Canada. Played professional football for the last 6 or 7 years. So he ought to be a stud. We're hoping he's going to be a stud for us. You know, we've not really trained very many people from Canada, and so I'm excited about having you live with me, and this is one of the things we're going to bring to the table. If I can say it, I'll just go ahead and say it. We want to start you from the start to the finish. We want these guys to see what we do, from taking a guy that's and I think you said you'd run maybe 10 steers off a horse, had limited in your steer wrestling so far because of football, couldn't really get into it like you wanted to. And your dad, 1992 world champion, Mark Roy.
Yes, sir.
What a phenom he was. I mean, great guy too. I mean, I actually I'm 94 years old, and I look good though, don't I? But anyhow, you know, at 94, I got the bulldog against your dad some. So really a great guy, and I tell you what, it says a lot about Mark Roy. It says a lot about your dad, and I'll go ahead and say that too. For you to be here, I mean, he's kind of old school like I was in my steer wrestling, and this is new school. I mean, it's new. Look, the cattle have changed, things have changed, and so I'm looking forward to seeing you go back to Canada and take our stuff with you. Now, we do compete in Canada. I mean, Josh and them, they go up to Calgary, they go to these, and they can tell you, I mean, we do very well up there. Our style plays very well for light cattle. It also, for bigger cattle, it's very forgiving style, and I think it's a good style. So, you know, and I hope that the people that are watching this thing, and I hope that the people that kind of tune in, we're going to put segments from the start to the finish. So it'll be an opportunity for you guys, for those guys at home, they can follow along. They can also use some of the techniques and the mechanics that we're teaching you, and they may can implement some of that stuff in their own program. Now, I'm also going to tell you that there's no wrong. They'll hear me say that many times. There's no wrong style. Styles make cowboys, and styles make steer wrestlers. So I'll never tell you that anything that you were doing or have done, or anything that these guys brought to the table, there's no wrong. If we can go out there, slide a steer, tunk him over, we're right. Now, can we be more efficient? Yeah. Josh is not here because of the big things. Josh could do the big things when he got here. Josh is here for the 0.2 of a second that he needs to find to win the $10,000 check versus the $500 check. And he'll tell you real quick, when you're out there in the game that he's in, and then on the professional level that he's at, 0.2 of a second can mean a lot of money, and it can, over a whole season, can mean the difference in going to the national finals or not going. Would you say that, Josh?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah. So I mean, we're trying to trim those seconds. We're trying to 0.1 of seconds, and we think that our style does that. You know, they say we slide cattle a little far, but I think once people really see what we do with our footwork and they follow that, they'll see that that's not really the case. Right. I mean, and we also will teach you, understand this, from here down. It's our core, it's our footwork that makes what we do so good. And people steer wrestlers that have steer wrestled for years are still trying to figure out why the Tyler Waggersbacks and the Rowdy Parrots and Josh Clarks and these guys can throw steers and finish steers so hard and make these steers clean up so well. And it's all to do from here down. And this up here, I call it fluff. I mean, we use it, and we use our core, we use our shoulders, we use that our strength, but we use it in a way that basically by the time we get to it, the steer's about halfway thrown. Would you agree with that too?
Yeah.
I mean, so is there anything you want to add to this and kind of about our style and our culture?
No, I think you pretty much hit every nail on the board.
Well, I mean, you know, and it is a different culture. I mean, it really is. I mean, a lot of guys, they start training from here up, right off the bat. because that's what they were told. You know, that, and we didn't care about footwork. We didn't care about those things. So we want you to understand that we're going to be real insistent when it comes to feet. Okay? Now, that being said, let's start a little bit. Let's get you started on this, okay? We don't bulldog behind the horns. In other words, we're not back here. This is the old style. This was the old style. The old style used to be like this and like this. So you rocked your shoulder back. You were trying to pick that steer's head up, and you were trying to bring that steer around. Now I'm going to use Josh for an example here, and he's going to be my steer. Josh, you get behind me there, and Bryn, watch. Let him get right there. Okay, now he's the steer, and I'm going to take that steer, and I'm going to do the old style. Now I do this. Watch where his hip goes. Now he's still not thrown, and I've given up my legs, and now he's got to come all the way back over here before I can ever throw him. And when I do throw him, the old styles was coming back to him. It would come right back over their right shoulder. So in other words, the steers would hit, and if they had a lot of action, yeah, they clean up. But if it didn't have a lot of action, what would happen?
They just roll down their back.
Roll down their back.
Hit on a leg.
2-point fall is what we call it. And so we want to make sure that you get a good clean fall. So the new styles are a little bit different. Now, we said go through the horns, didn't we? Mm-hmm. We said we want to make sure that those steers go back in our stance. 2 ways of doing that. One of them's bend over. If you watch what this horn's doing, horn's right here, Josh, put your hand right there and just keep it right there. All right? If I bend over, what happens to that horn? It goes back in my stance. Now I'm over it, okay? Now the most important thing, if I get my footwork right, and now when I go back, stay right there where you were, right there. All right, now when I drive back, I bend over. All right, I'm good. Now I drive my hips back, and look how far I go back in my stance. So I bring those horns way back into my stance. If I've got more weight over that steer, who's got the power?
You do.
I do. If I'm going through those horns, who's got the power? I do. Okay? So everything I can do to get, and look, it's a game of inches. Like if we're training Josh, if I move that steer back 1 inch, it may be the difference in a 2/10 of a second, 3/10 of a second, because we're taking the power away from that steer that much more. Does it make sense? So if I've got something that's kind of strong, and I want, let's say he's drawn toward the middle of the pen, where it would take some steer wrestlers out of the money, it may allow him to place. It may allow him, we're always trying to move that middle end of the herd up. Now there's low end of steers that we know that are going to be tough to get by, but even those steers, sometimes they haven't drawn our style, and we can change their minds, okay? Not always, and I'm not saying that we win on every steer, but we do try to beat every steer. Make sense?
Yes.
I mean, if we're trying to beat every steer, it's a whole lot better. So if we beat enough of them, and we do our thing on enough of them, we'll win the money. It's just a given. Josh also puts on some schools around Montana, and which is great because I know you're just right across the border.
Yeah.
And so I think we can get some of those Canadians down there too, huh? That'd be great. All right, go ahead.
I just think this steer's head gives you a little better example than the stick as far as being able to see what Tom's talking about as far as bringing that steer's head back into your stance and being able to go get the nose without having to turn your body and tweak it. Like what it just kind of shows you more when we drive back and with that left leg floated where that steer's nose is. And with that stick, it just eliminates that you have to use your imagination on that stick and for right here to go get the nose. But what I wanted to see was like show us what you've been taught before, kind of old style of what in your mind what you're trying to do with the steer's head, and let's see the difference here.
A lot of times I'd be running next to them cattle, and I'd hit like that, and I would really twist my body and get my hip into them and try to pull it out like that.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like I would get trapped a lot because my feet would run, and I'd be sitting here with that steer over me and no way to get to the nose.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, or it's right there, and I either gotta, if I do get it, it's deep. Or sorry, it's not deep. It's at the end of my arm. Yeah.
Right. Okay, go back, start over again real slow, and I'm going to stop you. Okay, let's start. We're going down the pin this way with the steer.
Okay.
Stop. Okay, and the reason I want to stop here is because look, steer's body is still back here, and look where the steer's head is. And look how Bryn's body, his hips are turned, his body's turned, and that's exactly what Tom is talking about. Now this steer has to travel all the way around to here, and most likely Bryn would keep turning, and that steer is going to hit over here.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And nothing wrong with that. That is, I mean, I was taught the same exact thing, and that's how I bulldogged for a long time. But so you see the difference when we're going down this pin this way with the steer, and we place our feet and start bringing that steer back into our stance. Now I can go get the nose here while we're still going down the pin that way.
And the steer, I'll be the back end of that steer then. I'm sliding him down the pin. Okay, he's driving. Now I'm the back end of that steer. I'm coming right here, get the nose, I'm hitting right here. And the other thing that if you noticed in that when you were doing it, show his style again. Just where he was showing his style. Look where his feet are lined up. Okay, big deal there because he's giving up his slide. And if I give up my slide, give up your slide at Cheyenne and see how that works for you.
Yep.
You know, give up your slide at Pendleton or some of those bigger rodeos where you got lots of pin, or when the cattle get older during the season and you really got to slide steers. Now there's a lot of guys who tell you I can't slide a steer. They still do. They just have to. But when you turn that hip and you do what you just did, something's got to give, right? You've got to make it happen right there. Okay? So if you're working on percentage, it's not a very good percentage, would you say? I mean, percentages of control is everything. Discipline is everything. Now, I will say this. I'm more fanatic, and these guys can tell you that I'm more fanatic on discipline than any other thing that we do. We wait for the nose to come to us. We drive hip. We do the things that we do, and then we're patient to finish. Okay? So where I would slide a steer maybe this much further in a straight line, I want to steer. I want to see those feet. When he finishes, I want to see those feet do this and come back. Those back feet. I want to see a kick out of it. And if you're a judge at a rodeo and you watch our guys, and they know them, they've seen them, when you watch our guys and that steer does what I'm saying and he hits there one time and he hits flat, the judge has got to do this. I mean, he's got to do this. If he's waiting for that steer to hit and he's shoulder rolling, he's sitting there, shoulder roll, then hips fall, then he drops the flag. Takes forever. And the same steers, okay? The other thing that I want to hit on a little bit here with you is this. When you brought that steer's, Bryn, when you brought that steer's nose and you brought it here, you brought it up here, right? That's where you had it.
Yep.
Where do you think you were driving that steer's back end? Now you picked his front end up, but you drove his back end straight down. Okay? So you ever see those steers that they fall and then they hang a leg and they just kind of roll over? He said it best. They roll out. They don't throw. We don't get that snap. We don't get that because when he throws a steer and he takes that nose and he brings that nose right here, he's pulling that spine in one line. He's pulling that spine out and in one line. So when he does that, he takes that nose and he tweaks that nose right here. He takes that nose and he gets it right here. He's doing this. Now, when he does that right there, and this is the way that nose goes, and his head is going here. Your head is going here. Okay? So now I'm going here. Where do you think that back end of the steer is going now? It's lifted. So he's picked the back end of the steer up. Okay? And that's what he's feeling. Now, the other thing is, when he's doing this, he never shifts to that left leg. Never shifts that left leg. He never gets off that right toe. What he's throwing that steer with and driving him hips back is that right toe. He's feeling the back end of that steer through his right toe. And unless you feel it, you'll never know what we do. You know, and you'll spend many hours with us in what we call the short pen. And it won't take you but about 4 or 5 steers to actually feel that. Now, recreating it over and over and getting out of the old habits of you know, getting in a hurry and won't swing his hips and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For guys, and I'll say this for those guys that are out there that are watching these videos, there's habits that it's going to take time to recreate yourself. You're not going to get out there. You're going to want to revert. Things are going to happen. And the first thing that happens, it doesn't matter if you're in a fight or whatever, you're going to revert back to the old style of your fight, you know, whatever that is. So understand that when you're creating something, and the only way to do that, and hours and hours of what we do. Mm-hmm. So as y'all watch these videos, guys, and you're out there and you're watching this stuff, don't think, well, oh yeah, I saw that, I can do that, and you come out here and do it, and you say, I got it. You don't have it. Muscle memory, recreating it with a feel. There's lots of little tools that we're going to use in all these videos, stuff that these guys up there probably had never seen before, you know. But they need to see it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start, and I'll show you. We'll start on this bungee first. It's something and the thing about it is, Bryn, is this. If you're practicing on like I call them toys, if you're practicing on these toys that we built, if you have to cheat it to use it, don't use it. If there's anything about that toy, whether it's a stick or if it's what we call it a mule, it's a thing on sucker rods. If it's a jumping dummy, and if you have to cheat that, Bryn, to use it, don't use it. Okay. Would you agree with that, Josh?
Yeah, 100%.
And it took me a long time to recreate some of this stuff. This bungee that we're about to use, and I'll show you how these guys use it. This bungee that we're going to use, it came to me. Hey, what can I do to recreate moving those steers back in my stance, but having the resistance that it takes for my upper body to work right? Okay. So that's what you're about to see next. Okay. Let's use this bungee, and what we're going to do, go ahead, you take it. Now, we're going to just barely, if you see this strap right here, this tells us about how much resistance we have on this bungee. So it can only go out so far. But right there, he's got very little resistance. Now, that's about a 3-second steer right there. Now, if I get over here, if I was back here, I'd feel him mash the steer, go ahead and drive. Now, get his nose and throw the steer. Okay, pretty easy because, I mean, we don't have a lot of resistance on it. All right, good. Now, one thing, while you're watching these videos, guys, and Bryn, this is very important, is we never change the angle of that knee whatsoever. Okay? So these guys that are walking around with these knee braces and having all the issues from knee problems, a lot of them came to me with football, through your Canadian football, but a lot of these guys are not having the knee issues because there's forgiveness there. Toes turned in. You know, the biggest thing you can hyperextend a knee is keep that foot straight like that and then drive back and flatten it out. If he did that, there's no forgiveness there. And look, any pressure I put on it there is bad, okay? Now, if he turns that toe to the inside, bends that knee, keeps that same flex in that knee, it's got plenty of give to it, okay? So, in other words, I'm trying to keep my guys on the road. And if they're not on the road, they're not making money. And they ain't got no backup plan either. If you know anything about cowboys, we ain't got no backup plan. So either we're out there making money or we're not, okay? So that's one of the things we do. Okay, go ahead and, now, back up another step. Now we got about a 4-second cow right there. Now watch the angle of that knee, drive. You watch it, see where that stick went? It went about that far, drive. Now, ear to the nose, down to the nose, core, and throw. See where he run his hand back to the back? Now, I want him to go in very slow motion here. Just, hey, we're going to slow this thing down. Watch what he's doing. Drive. Go right there. Now go way back in your stance with your core. Get your nose, ear to the nose, and pull out. You see what he did? Mm-hmm. Now, hold this just a second. Now look, do it one more time. Same thing. Now, the deal is, people are trying to figure out why our steers hit so hard. Now drive, they're thrown right here. They're coming over right here. Now what he's going to do next is most important. He's got this. When he throws that steer, look, he takes his shoulder and throws that steer like this. He's not pulling him. He's not pulling him out. He's actually tweaking him. So he's taking that nose, get up. He's actually taking that nose and he's gyrating that nose and making that spine do like this. So he can take a moose. He can take one of Canadian mooses and throw that son one down if he can get his horns. I'm serious. If he can get him down in his stance and make him run his nose to him. Now, the patience part, and hand me that steer head one more time, please. The patience part of this is this right here. When he gets to right here and he drives, you see where this nose is doing? That nose needs to come here. We don't go there and get it. There's the fallacy right there. This is the biggest thing. And it doesn't matter if you've been bulldogging 1 year or 20 years. The biggest thing that we have a tendency to do is get ahead of these steers. Especially when things start slowing down, you're good in your slide, you think you own him. Then all of a sudden he's right there and he's not quite come back in here where you're in your core and you throw him. But he's there and you say, oh, I got him. And you go right here, I give up my legs, right? I shift over here, I get up to my legs, and then a lot of times I'll give it back to him, okay? Or I'll get loose right here. Right. I don't want to ever get loose. What I want that nose to do is come right here, tight to the core, and then do this. Okay. Make sense? So that really, and look, it makes it so easy on you. You know, I know you're a big old stout boy. You're a powerhouse. What I like to do is let you bulldog like a 150 pounder. Okay? Yep. When you trust your mechanics versus, because everybody, Bryn, is going to tell you how big and strong you are. They told him that. They told Hudson that. Told Kaysen that. They told every one of these boys how big and strong you are. Don't buy into it, buddy. Because big and strong will get you beat. You can say, well, big and strong is good. It is. If you're using that strength and maximizing it. Okay? If you're using it. But look, athleticism, as good as you are, as strong as you are, athleticism will let you down. Understand that. Okay. These guys that try to beat us with just pure athleticism, and we get out there with mechanics, and you were a football player, you know, and still are. You may play for the Browns, you say. You know, that's great. Hope you do. But regardless of that, if we're out there on the field, okay, there's 2 or 3 things that you've got to do. The first thing, you got to have right footwork, right? You've got to have the right footwork. Right. If you don't have the footwork and you're blocking or tackling and that other guy does, you're beat, right? I mean, absolutely beat. Yep. It ain't no different than in that and steer wrestling. I'm telling you, footwork wins, no footwork doesn't. Right. And if you think that you can just get by, you can. But the efficiency's not there. Right. You can't be consistent. There's no way to fix problems. Okay. So the same thing applies to this. I mean, don't let somebody, and look, it's okay. They can talk. They can tell you how big and strong you are. I'm not saying that. But just don't buy into the hype. You know, you can ask him. He was a big old boy when he got here. He's still a big old boy and he's strong. But if he had to take finesse over strength, I think all day. It's going to win more money for him. He's going to be more consistent, and the percentages grow and grow and grow. So, in other words, you can use all types of steers, not just some types of steers. Okay. Make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what we're about. Okay? Now, so let's go back to this. All right, go ahead. Now, here's what I want you to do next. We took a 3-second count, we took a 4-second count. Okay, so I'm going to take him, I'm going to move him way back in his stance, and we're going to take all of this out, okay? So when we do that, we got a little drill that we take where he's going to go down, 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 and up, up, up. And what I want you to notice when you do this is this outside leg, this right leg. Okay, going back, get it all. You got it all now? Now, okay, right toe turned in, left knee floated out. When you turn that right toe, that left knee's gonna follow it. It's in your mind. I didn't create that. That's what happens. Now go down a little bit, stop. Go down a little bit, stop. Breathe. Go down a little bit, stop. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Go down a little bit, stop. Go down a little bit, stop. Go down a little bit more, stop. Go down a little bit more, stop. Now stay there. Breathe, breathe. Now he can throw a steer anywhere in there. Come up a little bit, stop. Come up a little bit, stop. Come up a little bit, stop. All right, good. Now come out of it. Now there's 2 or 3 things that you might have seen in that. One of them was that it doesn't matter how low the steer gets. We want them low. We want them down and low, because if we take them low, what's the first thing the steer's going to do? Balance is in the nose of that steer, right? Any four-legged animal, balance in the nose. We take that away from him. We take him down, change his eyes. Oatberry said it best. He said you change their eyes. You take that head, and it's right here. You change their eyes. It disorients them. You change their eyes and take them low, they're really disoriented. So what are they going to do with that nose then? They're bringing it back to you. Okay. That's our style. And having the patience to wait on them to do that. Okay? Right. So we can get deep in the ground as low as he was, and he still had balance. Now, I'm going to take one of these other guys. Come here. Let me just say. All right. So, Hudson's going to take this thing. I'm going to hold the stick. All right. Get down in your stance. Now, when I pull this stick, watch what happens. Pull. I release it. Go to the nose. You see where his balance is? You see how balanced he was in there? Yeah. Now, come here. This is old style. I want you to pull on it like you used to pull. Go ahead. Pull on the stick just like you used to pull. You see where you're at? Uh-huh. Now, you didn't put out the effort there. Back up just a little bit. Now, get in your stance, the old style. Drive it. Drive it. Drive it. Drive it. I'm going to pull on you. You see how you fell back? Yep. Now, are you going behind the horse or are you going in front of them? Behind them. Behind them. Yeah. You see the difference in what we do? Right. Now, it doesn't matter. Another thing is, if you had that elbow out, put that elbow out there. Now, watch this. You see how I can take that steer away from you? Yeah. It's never consistent. Get a hold of it. Go ahead and get a hold of it. Now, if I take that stick and I pull it, you see his body comes with it. There's no air. If there's none of this going on, less mistakes, right? And I'm putting everything with my core on the steer. Okay, so and it doesn't matter what guys that I give the stick to. Come here, Casey, and I'll let you do it too. Get in the movie here. All right, if I do this and I pull, you see where he's going? Mm-hmm. Now I'm going to pull, I'm going to release, go to the nose. You see he made a step back, he just made a liar out of him. Pull, and go to your nose. Go to your nose. Now, you see what he did? Good. There, go to your nose. The balance is everything. If you were fighting, if you were in a fight, in a fist fight, and you were back here like this, and you were fighting, you were off balance, you couldn't throw no power in there, right? But if you were balanced and you had your core in there, and you pinched your shoulders like we do, and you had your core, you could drive through him. You can send him sailing. Right. That's the same thing in steer wrestling. If you got the balance, and we have a closed stance, not an open stance. The old styles were open. Right here, open stance. Our style is just like this. Pinch, close your stance. Pinch your shoulders together, and then get in your stance. Okay. So let's do that. Hands up. All right. Pinch your. All y'all, get right there. Left hand in your pocket. Right there. Right hand, elbow to you, and drive up. Okay. We changed his eyes, and he's tight in our core. Okay. That's what we did just then. Okay. So now you got more power. See, you got that boxer stance. Now you can just drive. Okay. Now you got all your power. And if you watch our bulldoggers, you'll see this roll in their back. There's a big old roll in your back right now that you probably hadn't felt before. Okay. In your steer wrestling. So look, and the other thing is, look, eyes. And if these guys will say, I'm most particular about one thing, it's your eyes. Now, when you did that, you looked down here, you looked over here, you looked over here. When I was telling you to do that, you get in your stance, go. If you look at his eyes right there, they're not going to, they never change. And that's a trained thing. Okay. That's a learned thing. Do it, Josh. Boom. Do it, Casey. You see their eyes? All right, get up. Now, here's the deal. If I can not be looking in 10 different directions, I'm pretty focused, right? Right. So if me and you are having a conversation, I'm looking in your face. I'm not looking over here, looking out over there. Okay, and I know that I've got your attention. Right. So it's the same thing in steer wrestling. If you're looking down that pin And a lot of people say, man, you tell them to look down the pin, and we look down at the ground. I don't care what they do. That doesn't matter to me. Hey, prove me wrong. Look down at the ground and run down this, and run from here the length of the pin. See where it gets you.
Right. It's going to get you on the ground.
And the concept, the difference in the concept is this, Bryn. The concept is that we're taking our steer and taking him somewhere. Okay? That's our culture. We're not catching the steer and thinking we're going to stop him right here. We're not doing that. What we're doing is we're taking that steer down the pin. Now, when it's time to go over and get that nose, of course, our ears down, our heads tucked, everything's just like it would be if we were looking at the ground. But until that steer starts breaking over us, we're driving hip and we're looking down the pin. Okay. And we're sending that steer in a line. Josh said it best the other day. Tell him about the lines that you like to do with a steer. You know how you're sliding a steer and you want that steer to take you on the line.
Yeah, I mean, I always want, like, what I do is when I catch a steer, I pick my eyes down the pin on a point. It might be an outgate at the back end of the arena, and the mentality is, the thought is, I'm going to slide this steer in a straight line all the way to that point. Granted, most steers aren't going to slide you that far, but I want to take that steer as far as he will allow me, as far as he'll push, and then wreck him when he comes off.
And the straight lines mean that the steer's pushing down over his back, not around him.
Right. Okay.
See, so when we're talking about straight lines, we want our footwork to take that steer where we want him to go, not where he wants to go. You see a lot of guys, they catch steers and steers just does like this. Their feet stay here. They never get their feet out in front of them. So if that's the case, they have to drag them around them, and then they go to the nose. Our feet go with the steer. So if that steer's going here, our feet follow. We don't get out of position. And you know what keeps our feet straight? Core. We're going to teach you in this whole series, and we're going to teach these guys that are the Canadians up there that are going to watch this with you, how to keep your core engaged all the time. And if we keep that core engaged, we can't get beat. And our worst run on the worst steer looks really good. Now, we'll make some mistakes in that run. There's never been a perfect run. These guys can run steers all their life. They'll never have a perfect run. You can go pick them to death, okay? But so would anybody say that. I mean, you know. But the whole bottom line is, if we can make less mistakes than the other fella, and our core's engaged, and you can't pick our mistakes out, if you're just an individual looking on, it's pretty good. We're going to have a 3-second steer here. Bryn, this is your first steer. 3-second steer. All right, that's enough. That's far enough. All right, you got your balance now. All right. Now, I'm going to be the steer. I'm mashing on you just a little bit here, okay? Now, drive hip. Drive. Perfect. See how you drove? You still got that angle in that knee. That's perfect. Look down the pin. Now, go to your nose. Ear, down, ear. Hey, this ear right here. See where you want that ear on the nose. Now, you feel that? You got plenty of room for him to go somewhere, right? Now, throw your steer. Throw your steer. Whoop, you just picked him up, right? All right, so where do we want to go with that steer? Look down the pin. Now drive. Now go over and get it. Right there. Don't turn your hip to get it. Drive and go. All right, drive. Now go get your nose. There, now you got it. Get your ear over here. It's on the nose. Now, what are we going to do? We're going to tweak that steer and throw it. Now look, see how you're coming up right there? Hey, roll off that right toe. Roll off that right toe and throw him off that right toe. Now go down right there. Now get your nose. Now take your shoulder and I'm going to lift you right here. You see what you're doing? You feel that? Now you feel that right toe?
Uh-huh.
You hadn't been.
No.
Okay? What you've been doing is loading up on that left. I could feel it. I mean, when I'm back here and I can feel you loading up on the left, you're loading up on the left.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So if you do that, what are you doing? You're going to bring him back.
Running that nose back.
Your right foot is completely coming off the ground. It looked to me like if Tom stepped out of the way, you would fall back.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's
Felt
going
like
to go
that.
back to your base or your foundation. Like you may need to, we're all a little different. You may need to pull that left leg a little farther back, widen. You may need to find that, you've got to find that point where you're balanced front and back and left and right. Because right there, the whole time, you just look like if Tom stepped out of the way, you're going to fall back.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you got a really good steer that handles real fast, you're going to be going in the nose, falling on your back because you have no balance this way.
And guys, one of the fallacies that we have, and when I'm coaching this stuff and I'm teaching these guys how to do this stuff, okay? Whenever I tell them, say, widen your stance, a lot of times they'll take one step back. Now their stance is still a line here and a line here, still this narrow, okay? When we say widen our stance, we want you to take a step out here and back.
Okay.
You see?
Yep.
That's the difference. So I want you to take that step back and wide. So you got a big old wide core. Yeah. And most guys that bulldog have a pretty good sized core. I didn't. I mean, I was streamlined. But I still liked a big old base with my feet.
Okay.
Because the bigger base I had with the feet, the bigger it made me. Okay?
All right.
I had more ground. Okay, so let's do that. Just widen that base out and see how you feel. All right, good. Now, I'm not even going to get behind you.
Okay.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, drive that stick back, go your nose. Yes. Much better, huh?
Yeah, a lot better. Make sure when you're driving back, though, that those hips are also going down.
Yes.
Okay, as much as they're coming back, you want
Yes.
them going down, taking that steer's head down to make that back end come back. Okay.
Yep. Drive, go down. There you go.
Now they're
So here we go. What I want you to do is put your foot on the fence. Don't ever walk up and try to do what we do and have your leg away from the fence like that, your foot away from the fence. Because the first thing you're going to do is drive your hips and look, you're going to stretch that leg out. See, I had to stretch that leg out. I want flex in those legs. I want a lot of flex in those legs. But see, here's what I want you to do. I want you to be able to go down all the way, all the way, all the way, come back up. Never change that. You see what I'm doing? And that's what he's telling you. When I want to drive those hips, I want to drive them back here. I don't want to change the angle. I just want to move, those hips back here. You see what I'm doing? My hips are going down. They're not going up. Now, if you drive your hips up, let me show you what's going to happen here. Drive your hip up, this is what's going to happen. Now I'm going to shift to that left leg. I'm going to have this leg stretched out. I'm going to drive the hip up. Now I'm locked. Now, that's all I got. Okay? That's all I can do. I've give up my core. I basically give up my feet. Now I'm back to the old school now. I got to take what comes. And if that steer's strong, he runs out on the end of your arm. And now where you at? You're chasing nose again. Okay? Now you do it. Foot under the fence. All right? Good. Now, drive your hips back and keep that angle in the knee. Now, see where your hips went in? Do it again. You can go lower. Yeah. Get that bottom rung right there. That second rung. That right there. Now go on down. See, you can touch the ground with it. All right, now, do it again. All right. Now, here's the thing. Look down at pin. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Is it a red steer, black steer? What is it?
Black steer.
Always visualize your runs, okay? A black steer. All right, slide your black steer, slide your back steer. Drive him. Now go in there and get your nose, back, get your nose, and you throw it. Boom. Good. Excellent. Excellent. You understand now?
Yeah.
You know, if they can visualize it, they usually can do it. It's just like you, when you're playing football. If you can see a play, you can make a play, right?
Right.
So we want to make sure that you're seeing a play. All right, go back, go ahead. Hey, get behind him just a little bit and feel those hips and kind of put your, now, go, drive. Oh, ha ha. See how he fell back? He was driving off that hip, but his body wasn't coming forward, so he just sat back down.
Okay.
Okay, let's go. Yeah, he did that on purpose. All right, drive, now go get your nose. There you go, good. The only thing I didn't like about that was his right foot, his right toe lifted.
Okay.
So was he really mashing on that right toe, or was he heels first? We do everything on the balls of our feet. Do it again. Just stand there with a stick and put your hand on the stick just so you know that stick's leaving. Now drive, now go to your nose. Beautiful job right there. Now take him, throw him. Yes, do him again. Back a little bit further, back up. This is a little bit stronger steer. Drive and throw your steer. Yes, and there you go. Now back up another. Go ahead and get you some more. Now he's getting back down there where he's really, now breathe, pump air, now drive, and go to your nose. Perfect, now throw your steer. Now see, he had every bit of this. There's a safety, we've got a safety cord on here for a reason. We don't ever want you to break one of these bungees. They're pretty thick. But I mean, we've had guys get hit in the eye and stuff that they've built their own bungees and done all that stuff, and they've hurt themselves. We've got a safety net on this thing. So when you get to that point, you saw that this thing went all the way, had it all. So a lot of times with steers, that's what you do. You're not sliding them things, their steers just giving it to you like that. Right. But when you do this, you drive your hips, you hit that wall, you just keep pressure on the wall. You know, as you don't drive your hips into that wall, that steer's pushing forward, you're pushing back, you're just not giving. Okay. So the biggest thing you can do is just don't give up the battle. I mean, and he may slide you from here to that fence over there, which is fine. But when he does weaken, and he will when you change his eyes and you take his head down, when he does weaken, it's going to feel just like it did if he was up front and he slid you 3 feet. The steer's going to still come over you, he's going to give you the nose, and you're going to hit, and he's going to hit. Okay? So we're not really trying to change anything. We're just having to slide him a little bit further because he's, he may be an ox. He may be big. You may be at Cheyenne. He may be fresh. Fresh steers. You got to help them. Right. You take them, place them. You still do the same thing with their heads. Place them, move them down so but leave their balance out here. If they've got their balance and then they feed it back to you, it's a beautiful thing. Now, if you take a steer at Cheyenne and you pull him where his nose is coming around flat, it's a horrible feeling. Because then you can't do nothing. He's still taking you down a pen. And you see a lot of guys, they try those steers before it's time, and they end up getting eat up. Mm-hmm. Okay? So this is the way we do it. It's a beautiful thing. Now, get back down on that thing one more time, Hudson. Just like I did with, and I want to re-emphasize this a little bit. Go back down there and back up and get it all. So we got 2 bungees. We could add another bungee on here. Right now, we're just working light. All right, now go down a little bit, stop. Go down a little bit, stop. Go down a little bit, stop. See how in his slide he is? He's not over the steer. He's not holding his shoulders up. He's pinched up over the steer. He's got everything he needs. And see, the more I talk, the more he's got to breathe. So go down a little bit further. 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 Now, if I wanted to really get him, go all the way to the ground. Sit down. Sit down. Now, come back up a little bit, come back up a little bit, come back up a little bit. Now, if I did that for you, you'd probably get stuck right there. Don't break your form. Get you a cheater. Get you one guy stand. All right, come on out. Get you one guy to kind of lift right there. When you lifted weights, getting ready for football season, did you always have a spotter or cheater? Yep. Always do this here. Don't break form. It's just like lifting weights. Don't break your form. Okay? All right, let's do it one more time. I want you to go now. Take it all the way out, back up, big base, keep your elbow tucked, hand open. Now go down a little bit. Where's your head? Go down a little bit, 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 go all the way to the ground. Now, come up a little bit, come up a little bit, come up a little bit, come up a little bit. See, your balance is already taking form. Do you feel that? Yeah. You feel like you were way up over that steer? Yeah. See, this is what you'll be doing out here from here on. Okay. When we get to the little pen, and we're going to be expecting you to be up over those cattle, slide them, waiting, patience, discipline, all the things that we do, and then busting them. Okay? Sounds good. Hey, we're going to stop right here, Bryn. Hey, we're going to take this to Canada, right? Yeah. I call him my Canuck, man. I don't know what a Canuck is, but that's what I've been calling my big Canuck. But anyhow, hey, we're going to have a lot of fun with this. Hopefully you guys get in there with us, have some fun with us, and we'll see y'all on the next deal.